have to get to a point in your life that you have decided, not chosen, like I just chose it. No, you've decided that whatever it takes, I have to succeed at this. And we have to shift our perspective of, I'm not going to just do what I want to succeed. I'll do what's required.
If you don't understand the marketing and advertising concepts that we're gonna break down in this video, I can almost guarantee you're not only gonna leave a ton of money on the table, but you're likely going to struggle to build a successful, scalable real estate business for your entire life and ultimately be like one of the many agents that do deals until the day that they die because they can't afford to retire. Today, I've got on a very special guest, James Rembert, also known as ZillowKiller, and we're gonna be breaking down core principles of marketing and advertising, how to apply them to your business so that you can build a scalable business. Now, before diving in, I want to mention a couple things. Number one, you will not find this type of information anywhere else. I don't see anybody else diving to this level of depth and explaining these concepts in a way that will shift your perspective and get you to better understand what you need to be doing right now to build a long-term, scalable, and very successful business where you don't have to be 30 years into the business still doing showings, but rather building a business that will give you the lifestyle of your dreams. The next thing is I'm gonna link all of James' incredible content below because he is a wizard when it comes to advertising and marketing, and you're gonna wanna make sure to check out his content. So without further ado, let's dive straight in and give you a life-changing perspective on how to apply marketing and advertising to your real estate business. Welcome back, everyone. We've got on a very important topic today that I'm excited for, and a very special guest that's returning, Mr. James Rembert, the ZillowKiller that everybody knows. And we're going to be diving into what I think is probably one of the most misunderstood but most important aspects of scaling your real estate business, which is the difference of marketing and advertising and how to apply both to your business based on an actual understanding of it. So, James, what's going on, man? Super excited to have you back.
All is well, all is well. You know, I'm excited to be here. So
yeah, man, this is going to be an exciting topic because we've jammed out about this before multiple times. And I think your philosophies of understanding this is much deeper than most, and your ability to articulate that message is so powerful. So, you know, before we dive into it, maybe just give yourself a brief introduction for people that might not have seen any of our other content, and then we'll start diving right in.
Yeah, of course, of course. One thing I try and prep people is one, I only talk about things I know, first and foremost. And I'm coming from a practitioner standpoint. So I was a active agent. I did very well. That matured where that turned into a team. That team matured into a brokerage. That freed me up the time that I can go and build out an agency, which is something I really wanted to do. That agency afforded me to the point where we were able to literally break the financial curse on our family's lives. So if we understand what the industry offers and accept what the internet is, and the sense of it being a presence, not a destination, then we can actually, you know, right now, the rules of being successful are completely different. There's no gatekeepers, right? We can have exponential growth. So if we can separate what marketing and advertising is, and, you know, my thing is I try to remind the agent that I think you got into this to build a business, not a full-time job, right? Work is in there, but let's get back to being an entrepreneur and let's build that way. So that's kind of my focus right now. Yeah, I'm trying to prevent agents from becoming what we call forever agents.
100%. Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of people don't really think about that scaling aspect of your business where they get into the monotonous, you know, hamster wheel of just, you know, what I've found, and I'm sure you can echo this, is most agents can't think past the next deal or the next year. And what happens is they end up repeating that same year for the next 30, 40, 50 years. And they don't have an exit strategy. They don't have a scalable business. They don't have a sellable asset. They've got a career, and they don't have something that they've designed to be something that creates the leverage that they wanted out of their life. So, you know, getting straight into it, advertising, marketing. A lot of people think it's the same thing. A lot of people don't even understand the differences. Why don't we start there and unpack what the differences are and how to understand each, and then we'll get into how to apply each into their business based on where they're at today.
Yeah, of course. Well, the duality with marketing and advertising, we need to understand that they are completely different. I'm talking about night and day, in reference to the use of it. Marketing, messaging. That's all marketing is. And with messaging, you have to be able to communicate. And every platform that we see is just an advancement of communication. The unique part about marketing right now is every part of the marketing ecosystem is pretty much free if we use it, right? Every platform gives us the ability to market. So I'll stay there for 1 second, where let's understand that every platform has its culture, right? But let's just view every platform as a distribution channel. Let's not get caught up in it's Facebook, it's TikTok. I understand Facebook's culture, so I'm going to use that as my distribution channel. And I'm not caught up into the glam and me trying to show how many houses I sold. Let's try and get in front of people that either want to work with me, that might refer somebody to work with me, and build up that awareness and trust in that platform. And we have to see it as distribution. That's how we have to view it as. And then we get into advertising. Advertising is amplification. The unique part about advertising is it's unnecessary if we build up our marketing. Marketing is essential to your business, right? Because you have to communicate. You have to talk. You have to put your message out there. Advertising, amplification. You do not have to amplify the message if you don't. If you build up enough trust, you build up enough awareness, what happens is you build up enough enterprise equity into who you are, other people talk about you, which is why we're so caught up into referrals. The strategy of referrals, I think, is off. The structure of referrals is needed, right? Where we just wait, right? We're more reactive when it comes to referrals. But we're more proactive about communicating and putting our message out there, or clearing up our message, right? Because very few people, I try not to say branding, because branding has a deeper context when you understand that. I don't think I know an agent that has a brand. They have awareness. That's what everybody can build. But very few have a brand where the trust is so high, like Target, right? You can go on Target and go for toothpaste and leave out there with a carriage full of shit, right? Because we trust the brand that Target is. And we ain't got to see, we don't even have to see like commercials on the stuff. We just know Target has things that we will be most likely to use. We trust the brand of Target, so we trust the brands that Target carry. You can't name an agent that move like that, right? So I would love to say, you agents have brands. Every agent can build awareness. Very few people will be able to build a brand, and awareness is enough. Awareness builds up trust, and it builds demand. And if we can do that, that happens from marketing ourselves, getting a clear, concise message where people can understand, right? We do it enough, right? We're consistent enough that we build up enough trust, we build up enough awareness, and now we don't have to worry about where crossing our fingers, hoping we get referrals. We're doing things a little more proactive to get out there. And that's all marketing. That's all marketing, right? Amplification is honestly empty if we don't have a message. Amplify a message or amplify anything to a stranger, you're just burning money, right? It's almost, you got to look, we have to look at it in the same context as a stranger walking up to you and just whispering in your ear, listen, my bubbles are blue. And you're like, what the hell? Right? That's how weird it is when you are sending advertising something to strangers. I can help sell your house. I don't know you. All I know is you're an agent. That's easy. So marketing, messaging, advertising, amplification. And if we can separate the two and accept that, and the easiest way to just embody that is, like I said, marketing, essential to your business. Advertising is a luxury. You really don't have to do it if you don't want to. It helps, but you can only do it if you have a message to amplify.
Yeah,
so hopefully
it clears it up completely. And I think one of the things to really drive this point home that I think, again, based on your practical experience, that I think you might want to share is that story of what happened when you started to market. Because, I know that you've kind of unpacked with us before that you had an idea of who you thought your target avatar was. But then when you started putting out proper marketing, you realized your target avatar was a completely different demographic and psychographic. So do you want to unpack that so people can really contextualize what you're talking about?
Yeah, my first year selling real estate, I sold to 4 people in a midget, right? Because I relocated from Harlem down to South Jersey. You guys are in Jersey. Jersey is like the armpit of the country. There ain't shit out here to do, right? And I come from a different environment. And in my mind, I was going to dominate the Black community. That was my focus. And I realized in my first year, I'm doing something wrong. So I got my very first coach. My very first coach was Joshua Smith. I endorse him in everything he does, where he just helped me understand not the business. And I don't think anybody needs help with the business. I think we need to understand the implementation of putting ourselves out there is the problem. And what he said was, it's not your business, it's obscurity. It ain't enough people to know who you are, right? And if we understand most of our business are failing purely because of obscurity, right? Or struggling because of obscurity. And that's why, you know, when we said what you said earlier is people only think about closing the next deal. Here's the scary part, Mike. They have to, because that's all they have, right? They close one deal a month and they have enough to pay bills until the next deal closes, right? And that's the limited belief system that we've accepted. Same ideology, like, you know, fourth quarter is going to be slow. That's not true. Right? It's just a different time frame, but that's not true. And it's never about the market. You know, we get the market is shifting. It's not the market. It's about marketing. And marketing is nothing more than messaging. And every platform is nothing more than an advancement of communication, right? The clearer I can communicate, the more concise I can communicate my message, the quicker I can build up trust in front of people. So if we are willing to go that direction, then we're good. And that's what I did. And I started doing videos. Now, I'm a recovering introvert. This is not normal for me, right? Like, I was good by myself, and I understood that being an introvert is keeping me broke. Just the reality of it. Like, I don't want to do videos. I understand that. Then you want to be broke. That's just what it is. I would love to say there's an other way, where either you get out of who you are, or you stay in the current construct that you've built for yourself. And I had to take a complete identity shift and be the person that succeeds. So I started doing videos, and uniquely enough, the introvert side of me allowed me to talk to myself in the videos. Like, I literally was doing videos talking to myself. Like, I would talk about things I understood, the red doors and what I experienced, and I was putting them out on Facebook. And that year too, my business kind of grew to a level where it was about 16, 15 transactions in second year, right? And finally, I just was like, you know, where you got my information from? And everybody I would talk to said they got my information from the Moms Club of Cherry Hill, or the Moms Club. And I'm like, I thought that was a running joke. Like, I was like, it didn't make any sense. And finally, I looked into what the Moms Club was, and they explained to me that's a Facebook group of Cherry Hill East and Cherry Hill West of over 30,000 women that we love your videos. Now, year 1, terrible. Year 2, I did 10 million in sales. Year 3, I did 13 million in sales. Year 4, I went part-time by choice, built my team. I did 6 million in sales, but it purely was done from me putting out videos. I didn't start putting out advertising until I was working with my team. Like, I had no reason to, because I was putting out content consistent enough on Facebook. Now, we all know the platforms have shifted, but that Facebook group was a group of women, over 30,000 women here, over 30,000 white women that would circulate my videos. And I was focused on the Black community, and Black people didn't buy shit from me. Not because it was a problem, it was the fact that I can assure you, until you put yourself out there, until you start to communicate, you have no clue who your audience is. You don't know who's going to do business with you. Same way we really don't know what we can fail at until we try it, right? So the unique part about what the internet has offered, everybody has the ability to gain awareness, right? You may not build a brand. I promise you can build awareness, but the hard part is holding tight throughout the learning curve so you can get good. I would love to say you can get on video and kill it. You may not. You got to put in the reps. That's why you can't go to the gym and just lift 200-300 pounds. You have to put in the reps, get to the point where you can hold that type of weight. And that's what happens when you guys put yourself out there. But advertising should never be the first start of anybody's business at all, because you don't have a message yet. And I say this to people all the time. If you don't like Zillow, then you should be offended by every software company that comes to you and say, listen, give me a budget, give me a geographic area, and I'm going to generate leads for you. And they don't ask for marketing. If they don't ask for what is your marketing message, I promise you, you're about to burn through money. So be offended at everybody if you offended at Zillow, right? So marketing, essential. Advertising is a luxury. And that's all I focused on, was put myself out there. And it freed up the ability for me to do things that I really want.
Well, I think there's two concepts there that I always like unpacking, which is, and I think this is at sometimes the fault of some coaches out there, if you will, that are saying to new agents, well, straight out the jump, you have to identify your niche. You have but you can't, it's impossible to identify your niche. It's a journey. Your niche is a journey. Like for me, I had no idea what type of content would connect with my audience. So when I started my YouTube channel, I just put out content based on everything that I had actually practiced myself. I put out videos about my cold calling strategy, my door knocking strategy, social media strategies, and then local market strategies. Well, what I found after 3 months of consistent content was everybody wanted to know more about the social media strategies. Well, what do I now do? What's my niche now is social media for realtors, because I said, here's everything I'm good at. You pick what you align with. And that now created my niche. But I think a lot of people are held back from progress because they're being told that if they don't have a niche, that they can't move forward. But you can't move forward because you haven't put out the marketing. And I think, looking at what you've kind of unpacked there as well, is that aspect of people that don't really understand that formula that I know Alex Hormozi talks about, and a number of others do too as well, which is the formula for output or execution is skill, volume, time. Well, your skill set sucks because you put no time and volume into the activity. So you're discounting yourself before you've even tried. It's like trying to ride a bike. You don't just get on a bike without the training wheels and start going. You fall over, you have training wheels. There's an evolution of this process with repetitions and time. And I think it's important for people to understand that marketing is going to be unfamiliar in the beginning because you might not have done it before, but it becomes second nature through repetitive, consistent action. And that's what builds the definition of your business over time. So, now that you've really depicted the two and we're able to differentiate, where do people start and what do you recommend people do that are saying, okay, now I understand that obviously advertising is a luxury. I don't need to do it. Marketing is essential. I have to do it. Where do I start? What do I do?
Well, again, you have two dominant, vehicles, which are audio and video. Don't really care which one you choose. I think the being bad part is what we don't accept. Right. So I'll just tell you, your first couple of whatever you do is going to be shit. It's going to be terrible. Right. But you have to be willing to put in the reps so you can get better at it and pick a platform. Do you need to be on all the platforms now? They're not going anywhere. Like they're not going anywhere right now. Now you might, and you take too long, they may charge, you know what I mean? So that's a possibility. But at the end of the day, the access that we have in reference to getting in front of the right people is, it's mind-blowing how we can connect with the right people, or the right people will find you, right? And, the hard part that a lot of people have is we judge our beginning with other people's middle, and we can't do that. And I know it's hard. I know it's, I'm saying that and people like, nah, I know we're studying, we're reading, and you may see like Mike's videos and like, you got 80,000 followers and you could say that. You had to start with one. He had to start with one. And that's what we need to accept, that I'm going to, now here's what I've been pushing to people and helping them understand is that you have to get to a point in your life that you have decided, not chosen, like I just chose it. No, you've decided that whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes, I have to succeed at this. And we have to shift our perspective of, I'm not going to just do what I want to succeed. I'll do what's required. And what's required right now is to build attention. I don't care how you get it. Set yourself on fire and people will come to see you burn. but you can do something that's a lot less strenuous by putting yourself out there and getting better at it, right? The identity shift of well, it's not working for me. We get better. Like we have to get better at it. I know you got 20 views and you got 100 views. We stay consistent. We hold on to the learning curve until we get better. And the best thing to do is pick a platform, right? Pick a feature, right? If you're gonna do stories, you have to do stories. You need to find out at least what the technical side or the most aggressive side when it comes to stories. You're gonna do reels, you're gonna do TikTok, you're gonna do YouTube. You need to at least accept the science behind whatever platform you choose. If YouTube is it, you need a video a week, 2 videos a week. You have to accept that. Pick a platform, pick a feature, and this is where you lock in. But the amazing part about the internet is every platform is a distribution channel. I promise you, if you put yourself out there, people will listen. And, sometimes we're like, well, no one wants to hear what I have to say. Right now, maybe not, right? Maybe not. And this is why we get better at that. We start to find the right information that's congruent, right? Here's an exercise that very few people will do, but I'll say start here is, and we talked about this, video prior to this. Decide what do you want, right? Like seriously, like is this a career or is this a business? Like which one is this? Because there are 2 different paths there, right? And if it's a business, then we start to do the components that we're trying to think of in a sense of, am I going to create this into a asset that either is transferable or it's appreciating? What am I doing, right? And now we start to apply those components that make that possible. But the one thing you're not going to be able to avoid is marketing. Pick a channel or pick a vehicle, audio or video. The great part about that is when you understand, there's a scripture that says, out of the mouth speaketh the heart. You learn how to be you, or you find who you are in the process. Because I promise you, if your content isn't working for you right now, if you stay consistent, it's working on you. And now we're getting better and we're getting better and we're locking in, we're getting better because marketing is unavoidable. It's unavoidable. And we have way too many tools that are free. We have way too much access that's right here. That's like intuitive, right? It's we ain't even got to go nowhere. It's right there for us to fail. There's no reason why an agent should be failing or struggling in their business in 2023. And I know that's like, people are like, well, no, you can't say that. I'll say it again. There is no reason why an agent should be struggling or failing in their business in 2023. We have access to too much information. What we don't have is implementation. And if we take the implementation side and challenge it or verify it through applying versus thinking, like, oh, I think it ain't gonna work. That shit doesn't matter. It works, right? Video has been proven. The problem is you haven't figured out who you're talking to yet. So if we challenge it or verify it through the implementation versus the thinking, we get a lot much further. And I just encourage anyone, I accept the fact you're gonna be bad. You might kill it, but I accept the fact I'm gonna be bad and I can get better at it. But the marketing side of your business, building up your voice, being able to communicate your message. The only people that win in this industry are the people that can communicate their message the best. That's it. I don't care if you've been doing this for 30, 40 years. If I can communicate it better than you, I'll win it every time. You know what I mean? So everything that we offer in a sense of that we have access to, we said it before, it's nothing more than an advancement of communication. So get better at communicating. And that only happens by doing it.
Yeah. Well, and I see it all the time where people are comparing their chapter 1 to my chapter 20. It's like, go back and filter my videos by oldest to newest, and you'll see that I was petrified of being in front of the camera and terrified, but I put up 500 videos now on long form, thousands on short form. Of course I'm going to get better. But I think, a lot of people use this excuse, especially in real estate, where it's like, well, I'm a perfectionist. Well, if you know the definition of perfectionism, number one, it ain't ever happening. But number two, the only way to even work toward it is repeated action for an extended period of time. repeated action. If you take no action, you can never even get to perfection. So there's a lot of people like worried about how their content looks. As you alluded to, just accept that the first 10 videos are going to suck. They're going to fall on deaf ears. I would much rather have a 50 subscribers that are my friends and family with videos that suck that nobody's calling me out for than have 80,000 subscribers and put out videos that suck, right? You get it out of your system in the beginning and build that momentum. But what I found too is that when you get better at marketing, everything elevates, because as you alluded to, you know, communication's the #1 skill set agents need. When you're able to deliver a clear, concise, compelling, incredible message on camera, your ability to communicate in a listing presentation, to think on your feet and handle objections, your ability to think while you're speaking is so heightened that everything starts to convert better. Your conversion increases and your business scales. But I think
here's something funny, Mike. Hold on, dude.
Yeah,
and pick that back up. But here's what's funny is most agents don't understand is content is nothing more than conversation at scale. That's it. Instead of one-to-one, we're having conversations one-to-many. And that's why getting better at this is the lifeblood of your business. The lifeblood of your business. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to plug that in there. Like if they understood that we're having conversation at scale, because everybody said it. Put me in front of them and I can sell them. All right, then let me show you how to sell a whole bunch of people, right? Not just one, but let's get a whole bunch of people. And the problem is agents find out very quickly that they don't know as much as they think they know. When they don't have the energy to transfer, they don't have anybody to bullshit in front of them. Like I have nothing to feed off. And I just have to speak what I know. Yeah, that's very humbling. And that's why people pull away from it, but it's essential. It's essential. And I'll say this, because I know I said it, I want you to hold your thought. There are so many agents that have a belief system that they don't believe. And I say that because the belief system should create the impact or the actions for you. There's a scripture that says a good man has enough wealth set aside for his children's children. That's legacy. When you became an entrepreneur, that's what you started, being an agent. In the fine print, you agreed to legacy. And all we're telling you to do is put out videos, and we're like, nah, I want to do that. You don't believe what you say you believe. Just to be good, you got to leave something behind. You can't, not just life insurance, like to be good, not like great or amazing, just to be considered good, Mike. You have to think of legacy, and this industry has afforded us the ability to build wealth that's pretty much untapped in the sense of what we can understand if get out our own way.
Yeah, well, you know, and you know, one of the things that I just wanted to unpack before I talk about an important concept that I'm excited to get your opinion on is, you know, I hear this all the time. Well, Mike, I don't know what to record. How do you call yourself an industry expert if you don't know what to share with your clients, right? Because at the end of the day, going back to your principle of content is conversations at scale. Well, if James was your ideal target, if it was a client and he sat down in front of you and said, "Hey, Mike, tell me about the 5 reasons why I should move to Philadelphia." Well, do you think you'd stutter? Do you think you'd read off a script, or do you think you'd naturally talk? Right? That's all content is, and that's what converts, because people now get to feel who you actually are, what you stand for, what you're about. That's the beauty in it, is that it's conversations with your ideal target avatar at massive scale. So talk to the camera like it is your target avatar, because guess who's on the other end of it? Your target avatar, right? Because nobody's watching a real estate video related to your market just for fun, unless you've got a couple loose screws in your head. You're watching it because you're a target avatar, right? So I think
some people think they have to be super entertaining.
Yeah.
I think they feel that, and the ability just to communicate what you do, start there.
Yeah. Well, and you know, the concept that I always get, and I'm really excited to get your opinion, because I've got a ton of different opinions on this, which is, you hear a lot of people saying, well, Mike, how do I determine the ROI on free content? And what holds them up and holds them back from taking action is they're saying, well, Mike, I've put out videos for 3 months and I still don't have any leads. I still don't have any clients. And what they're really misunderstanding is what the actual return on your time invested is with content. What do you say to people that are questioning that? Because I'd love to share mine afterward.
Well, I have a different perspective on how I view ROI. I can't say the return on investment because that's time, and that's, you know, some of that is sweat equity involved. I mean, yeah, dollar in, I need to see dollar out, and I understand that part. But the amazing part of how I see ROI is if you're able to resonate, you are consistent enough to build up omnipresence, and you can tap into intimacy, the return is limitless. And everybody that we follow, everybody that we agree to and that we like online, I promise you, you'll find those same components. You can go down through the coaches to the whoever you name, they are resonating with you. They're consistent enough that they build up some omnipresence. And all I'm saying is you're getting in front of the right people at the right time with the right mindset. If you are speaking to me in a sense of, I not just find value, because I think that's too subjective, but if you can speak to me where I can relate, I'm gonna look at more of your stuff. Right? I'm gonna see what else you're doing, what else is out there, what else we got going on, and from that we move into a space of intimacy, right?
Oh, your camera froze.
Flow of other stuff out there, so they have some archive of information they can go back to and check out, right? That helps omnipresence. You don't want to pop off on some content and they go and check you out and there's nothing there, right? Yeah. You want to have something there. And intimacy, be yourself, right? That's what I'm telling you. Like, I think we're so, you know, some people are so caught up in the performance, you can't find out. You don't have to be a caricature to succeed online. You can be yourself. If that's your thing, then by all means, but you don't have to be a character. You don't have to be, you know, comical. Like, I am straightforward when I talk. Right? Yeah, this is me. I am not soft and pink. This is just who I am. I'm not harsh, but this is me. And you'll never see me dancing on TikTok. Shit is not going to happen, right? I don't care. This is the thing. It's not going to happen. It's not me, right? So I think the biggest thing is most agency to be okay with themselves, first and foremost, and then be okay getting better. Like I said, I was an introvert, and I knew an introvert perspective or how I approached it wasn't enough. And I had to make that identity shift and realize that, you know, when they realize that you can't have everything you want, but you can have everything you are, you have to become that person of where you're trying to go, or who can sustain that wealth of success you're trying to be. So ROI to me is resonate, omnipresence, intimacy. You can calculate where that goes from there. You get that right, game over. And here's the crazy part. When you can do that, Mike, sell whatever you want. You ain't got to sell housing. Sell whatever you want after that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, you sell whatever. When you're able to resonate, you're able to build up some omnipresence where you have an archive of information that people are consuming and they dig. And the intimacy side of who you are, people can see you, right? And no bullshit. I can see you. Win-win. And there's no syndicated software or platform that can take that from you guys. So that's what I say. Like, what's the ROI? That's the ROI.
Exactly. I think it's like, you know, one of the best examples I always think about is like Dwayne Johnson, right? He's, you know, movie character, wrestler, content creator, gets paid $1 million, $1.5 million per post because people believe in everything, because he shares his family. He shares who he is. You know who he is, what he stands for, what he's about. Tequila company blows up #1. Everything he touches turns to gold because of all those principles that you just shared. And I think it's that longer term delayed gratification mindset that people need to have in where they're so embedded within this industry of saying, okay, you need to calculate $5 spent equals 1 lead, 100 phone calls equals X conversations equals X. Like, I get it. The numbers are important. Understanding the data is important, but it's not everything. And you can't do it with everything to the point where, again, you know, I could never tell you that putting out 500 videos would lead to a multiple 7-figure per year business. But I knew that if I follow a proven process that everybody else has proven in every other industry, and I'm consistent with it for long enough, it will work out. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's just people are so caught up in putting a definitive timeline on when they should expect tangible results that they don't even take action because they can't calculate that. So to them, it becomes not worth it. But the reality is it's not worth not to do it, because you'll always be chasing the next hamster wheel if you don't execute on these principal foundations.
You know what I realize, Mike, is a lot of people, and I say this a lot to different people, our industry, especially high lifestyle and conversation, they want to talk about what they're doing and what they're going to do, but the doing is not going to happen. And, you know, people like ourselves, we wanted to succeed. We didn't want to talk about succeeding, right? Yeah. We wanted to, like, I did not, when I meet with different people, no one can convince me to my face that they grew up wanting to be a real estate agent. Can't nobody sit like, dude, when I was 6, I always wanted to be an agent. No, you got into this and you couldn't figure your way out of it. And the sad part about that understanding or that ideology, when you talk about content, you say all of the possibilities and the principles, and yes, you got to get good at it. And you don't want to accept, like, I don't like how I feel, I don't like how I look. And we get stuck in that mold. We have prepared ourselves to sell real estate until we die. And that's what people won't say out loud. But I'll tell you, if you don't market your business and you don't build something that's either transferable or something that's appreciating, you are going to sell real estate until you die. And I would love to tell you, you're going to hit some magic number. And when I get to this amount of, listen, the worst thing to have is more life than money, right? You got more month than money. That's a hard thing to have. Some of y'all, some people will catch that and some people won't, but you don't want to find out. And I said this, it was in a coaching call not too long ago. You don't want to find out what strength is when strength is all you got. You have no other options but to be strong. I'd rather you guys be strong now while you have options, put yourself out there and build on that understanding that video works, marketing works. You just got to get better at it, right? Yeah, and I don't know the time frame it's going to take you to get better at it, but who cares? Like, at least you are putting that effort towards doing it versus those that are doing nothing. And like I said, you know, that token or that badge of honor, you know, we meet them. I've been selling real estate for 30 years. That shit is not impressive. It means you ain't figured it out yet. Like, that's not something you should boast about, right? You know what I mean? Like, and you still doing, like, you're still driving people around, and it makes no sense to me, right? And we have accepted that as a norm. I just refuse to accept that as a norm. I don't knock anybody, but it ain't nothing you should be proud about, right? It's like you telling me, and when I say this, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, but the one thing that our industry has learned how to do is we've learned how to produce revenue. People work jobs because they don't know how to produce revenue. You've learned the hard part. That's why you got janitors for 30, 40, 50 years. That because they haven't learned how to produce revenue. You have a leg up already. If you accept that and understand that the internet has given you the access that you need to get out of this feast or famine mentality. Let's not accept that. Let's not accept that the market is bad. Let's accept it's always the marketing, right? It's never the market. It's always the marketing. When we accept that and start to do the things in a sense of, I will do what is required. I will no longer do what I want to succeed. I will do what is required. You hear somebody like Mike says, hey, listen, you need to at least start putting yourself out on videos. Enough said, right? It's enough said. There's nothing else to challenge anymore. 80,000 subscribers. You see the life. Enough said, right? When we do that and we get past what Mike did it, Mike is validation that it can be done. I don't have to do what he did. He just justifies it can be done. And marketing at any business level is essential. I don't care what you do. It's a non-negotiable. And the easiest way to market right now, is to put yourself out there on video and audio and get comfortable getting better at it. That's very uncomfortable to say, right? Because it's like, dude, my shit is bad. Yeah, I know, you get better at it. Don't worry. Greatness is cultivated. That shit is not genetics. You get better at it. Just keep going, right? Yeah. And we improve, and then we start to pull elements that make us get better at it. But we just can't, I refuse to accept and allow the industry, those that hear me, to believe that this is it. No, this ain't it, right? In 4 years, I did it. 4 years, with 3 years that I understood what to do. First year, I did it my way. Third year, I knew I needed to get out there, and very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Right? Like I said, you've been around me. I still have an introvert component where I'm cool in the cut, right? But I had to become something else. And until the industry accept that, right? And I hope that somebody catch what I'm saying. You do not have to sell real estate 30, 40, 50 years. You don't. You can decide, this is the time that I want to sell. Even if it's not transferable, even if you can't sell it, you can build up something that's extraordinary, that you can decide in the time frame you've chosen to do what you really, really want. But you have to shift the understanding that I will no longer do what I want to succeed. We'll do what's required.
Yeah, man, this is my favorite conversation. I love it. And I think there's so many important principles that I really do hope people catch. And I think, to pull this full circle, I would love to know your opinion on people saying, okay, I get that marketing is now what I need to do. I've been screwing off for the last couple of years. I haven't been doing it. I'm going to start doing it. What's your advice to people that are going to start with marketing? We picked a channel. We're going to be doing it. For me, it always comes down to different things like, okay, the movable middle, you get a certain amount of content out. We look at the data, we adjust, we improve over time. Like, what does that journey look like to ascend people from saying, okay, I'm going to start, I'm going to suck, to then, okay, now I'm starting to build momentum? What's your advice for people for actually building scale with marketing?
The question is tricky because we have to be able to pull from power. We have to find people that have done it. I always tell people to challenge people based off their results, right? Scripture says, judge a tree by the fruit it bears. If you can see what Mike has done, that's proof, right? And when you are trying to figure out, okay, I'm doing it, but it's not performing, and you start to research on that information that you need to, that middle part, right? Like, what is we can Google YouTube tactics all day, Instagram tactics, like the information is there. So you need to connect with the person that's, this resonate with me. You ain't got to buy anything. You can resonate with the information that's being provided, but it's the implementation, right? That's what we want to look for. And even if you use some information and it doesn't work, you pivot. It is okay. Hold the goal, change the strategy. But if we can get to the point where we move at the speed of implementation, we can make those adjustments in that movable middle a lot faster, where we don't just sit in it, we apply it. And let's say we give it everything we got. Again, I don't know what everything you got, what that means to you, but we give it everything we got. And we're like, all right, this shit right here is not working for me yet. I need to pivot, right? And we need to be willing to do that. And when we can do that, and that comes with a massive mindset shift in a sense of deciding, right? Deciding on what do we really want for our lives. And like I said, my turning point of finding my movable middle was, I realized that it was something I didn't know. Like I just did. Like I know what the book said. I knew it was something I didn't know, and that's why I was willing to pay to be with Joshua and get the information that I needed. And right now, I pay upwards of about $18,000 a month in my own personal coach. I have a business coach, a fitness coach, I have a life coach, and I just hired a voice coach where I had a storytelling coach a couple months ago. I'm willing to pay for the information so I can get where I need to go, right? So pulling from power that's how you find that movable middle, but you got to know what you want. And then you connect with people that are congruent. And if the information or what you see is applicable, start with the free stuff before you go out there and spend And when you get to the point where you've built something that you can spend, dude, I don't care what it costs. Like, if you can get me where I need to go, the price is irrelevant anymore. You know what I mean? So I said earlier, I would rather you guys lean into the strength that you have now than have to be forced to lean into strength when that's all you have. And what that means is you've lost everything, and all you got left is, I just got to be strong until I get it back. While you have it, lean into your strength and put yourself out there, but start and then fill in the blanks. Like I said, if you're putting out IG reels, you go look at these, who's doing IG, where we at? You know what I mean? Like, that's what we're looking for. And that's what let me add that. But it comes from the implementation. And like I said, a lot of people, it's easy to talk about it because you can hide lifestyle and conversation. Right? You can, like, yeah, I'm doing everything I can. Bullshit, you're not. There's no way possible, right?
Yeah.
There's no way possible. I'm looking at it like there's no way, right? You know, it's like cheat days. You know, I want to get healthy, right? And then they go to the gym for 8 months or 6 months. Now they got cheat days, and they're like, dude, I don't have the results I want. It took you 30 years to do that. I don't think you earned cheat days yet, right? Well, so that's the shift. Man.
I think it's so important. And, you know, the last thing that I really want to wrap up with, which I think is a good extension of what you just shared, is consuming for entertainment versus consuming for education. I think a lot of people are consuming content just to be entertained by other agents and what they're doing. Like, when I'm consuming content on YouTube, on Instagram, TikTok, wherever, like, I'm not just saying, okay, what are they saying? How are they saying it? How do they train? Like, what can I learn from this? Why did I click on it, right? What drew me in? What was their thumbnail? What was their title? What drew me in? Oh, well, if it drew me in, guess who it'll draw in? Other people too. Maybe I can apply that. And starting to shift your mind from just looking at content as this entertainment piece and more as an educational piece of how you could pull that. Because what I find is, and you already talked about this, is finding somebody in something that you resonate with. A lot of the people that I resonate with in terms of creators are external to real estate. It's not trying to be a different version of the other top producer in my market. It's saying, hey, I align with these people. When I bring it and put my own flavor on it within the industry, it now becomes novel and different, right? And it becomes unique because it's me. And I think a lot of people are just trying to replicate what everybody else is doing when they're not understanding that they're not like everybody else. You have to find the right people, put your own spin on it, and start to look and be a student of the platform. And I say this to people all the time, which is the last thing I'll wrap it up with, is like, let's say you pick YouTube as your medium for communication. Well, if you wanted to be an NBA player, if you wanted to be the best, you'd probably study LeBron James. You'd probably watch all the games. You'd probably study Michael and Kobe and all these other people. You would be a student of the game. If you wanted to be in the NBA, you're not wasting your whole day watching Netflix or football. You're watching basketball. You're a student. And all too many people are saying, well, I want to get good at YouTube, for example. You're not even consuming YouTube content. You're not a student of the game. You're not a student of the platform. How can you get good at something that you're not even religiously being a part of your educational experience? And that's where so many people go wrong. Where for me, my source of fun, probably makes me sound like a lunatic, is like, I'm going down the rabbit hole of other people's thumbnails and videos and hooks and deliveries, be like, why did that grab my attention? Okay, well, I've found fun and excitement in the process of improving. How good can I really get with this? But it all comes from being a student of the platform, not just using the platform because I know it gets results. I'm a student of it and always improving.
That implementation, Mike. If people would understand that, and like I said, I know it sounds like cliche. It was like, I know I need to implement, then I need you to do it. Let's start there. And when you understand just what I'm saying, when you become a person that implements or you change behaviors, you change your beliefs, and beliefs are how we govern ourselves. And if you can do that, you can start to understand, okay, well, if Mike consumes everything or a student of the game, like how? Because he changed his behavior, his belief, and what he's trying to do. Now it governs, when he consumes content, it becomes, what can I apply, right? Like, I'm always looking for elements that I can apply to myself. Like I don't watch TV personally. I do a lot of reading. And I read everything. Like I'm fascinated with graphic novels now. Got me to the point where, from my storytelling coach, led me into things like that. The behavior shift of who we need to become is the first thing we need to decide to do, right? And when we decide, not choose, when we decide, you'll learn very quickly that dreams don't come true. It is the decisions that do. And if we can do that, if we can choose to be that person, I know it ain't you. Like that ain't me. What you are doing ain't working, right? Like who you are, shit is not working. You have to do something else. You have to, your best thinking is getting you where you are right now. So, you know, because we've said it, you've heard people. Now, I know YouTube work. Why are you not doing it? Yeah. Your best thinking is getting you where you are. And I've learned and I've accepted the understanding that there is something that you know that I don't know, because I don't have 80,000 subscribers. So I would be a fool not to pay attention to you, regardless of what people think, right? Like to shift up who we are, right? And like I said, I really try not to say mindset, because I think the word has gotten so loosely used. I just rather encourage everybody that right now, if you're failing in your business, it is your best thinking that's getting you where you are. That means you have to decide on being or becoming someone else. Don't lose who you are, but you have to add other attributes to increase who you are, so you would be able to succeed. And being a person that implement, right? Start with something small. Like, dude, I kid you not. Like, you do not have to hurt me for me to understand shit. Like, if my GPS says to crash, I immediately take the exit off. I know people like, oh, I'll take it. He or she knows something I don't. Now, it could have cleared up. I'm not trying to challenge that. Like, I don't have the energy nor the time for that. So the identity shift that people need to take on, if you want to succeed at a high level, you have to get over doing what you want. You just do what's required. And if you don't know what's required, you connect and find the people that are doing what you want to do. That's simple. That's not complicated. And sad to say, very few agents are doing it at a high level because they're still in it. Like it goes back to what I said. Like, that shit is not impressive. You're like, I've been doing this for 30 years. You're prepared to sell real estate until you die. That's a real reality. And I wish agents would accept that. The industry has, nurtured the industry to be technicians, to do everything. We don't understand management. We don't understand delegation. We definitely haven't gotten to the point of communication. So we'll never build community. And those are the 4 levels of wealth, right? We go from technician, management, communication, community. You get to a point of community, sell whatever you want. Sell whatever you want. This is why we can see some people make the transition. I mean, I know, some people sell courses or whatever, but I'm not going to get mad at that. If you got the audience and they're willing to buy it, I'm not going to knock you on that.
Yeah. Well, I think, dude, like, starting the typical book, like the E-Myth, start with the end in mind. And most people don't even know what the end goal is.
Oh, no.
And I think, the last thing, I'm just going to briefly toss this out there, and I hope it sits with people, is that you will never achieve your goals. You will always achieve your standards. And not too many people are auditing what their standards are, because those standards are the behaviors that are keeping you exactly where you are today and making the amount of income that you are today. So think about that. But James, I think this is an incredible conversation, and it's one that I love jamming out with you about. You talk a lot about this type of stuff on your content. So where do people go to find out more?
Well, I'm working on building up my short form for certain types of distribution. I've been going very heavy in the AI space. And the reason why I'm doing that is I know that there's a lot of stuff out there, but a lot of people don't know what's really we can really apply. So to get over the bells and the shiny object syndrome, here are things that are really applicable to your business that you can apply, that we are using, that you could use, and now we can go from there. So Instagram is one, and YouTube is my main focus. I ain't even give nothing else. I'll pop stuff in Facebook. I don't touch TikTok. I don't touch LinkedIn. Not that I'm opposed to it. I'm just focused on building these 2 out first, and then I'll migrate people over.
I love it, man. Well, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate this, guys. Everybody, I will link all of James' incredible content below. Definitely go check it out because it is a wealth of knowledge, especially if you liked what we talked about today. So thanks so much for tuning in. As always, we'll see you in the next video.